Hey, everyone, Mark and Joey here on Wednesday, and Wednesday for us is the start of football week. A lot of research going into our Thursday through Monday games coming up. This is our big show. We do it every week now, where we get involved in all the aspects of wagering that we can do and fantasy football that we can do coming into the weekend. So this show will focus on Draftkings for one thing. We play a lot of Draftkings. If you've not seen Draftkings, go onto their website, draftkings.com. And you'll see how they work. But basically, it's a fantasy pool. And what's really cool about it compared to what you see everywhere else, it's not a season long where you got to have players and trade them and bring them in your lineup. And somebody gets hurt, you take them out. This is a day-by-day or weekend game all the time. Starts and finishes. And that's why we love it, because we don't want to have to follow every single player every single week. Make sure we're making changes to our lineup. You get busy and you miss a change and things along those lines. So DraftKings.com, that's what we're talking about today. So what we're going to be doing for DraftKings is we're going to go through every single game, and we're going to tell you some highlight players that we feel have great weeks on DraftKings that you can include in your DraftKings lineup, and you should be able to fill a whole lineup full of the players that we're talking about. So that's number one in the show is DraftKings. Number two in the show is a typical office pool. You might be with friends at your office. You might be in a pool yourself online, whatever it might be. For us, we have a whole bunch of friends of us to get together online, and we do an office type pool, which is basically picking winners with the points. And so we're going to give you our selections that we're using this particular week. Joey, we're doing good on ours. We're 15th, and considering last week demolished us, and along with a lot of other people. What a weird week. We're going to talk about that. And so we're going to give you every game. We're going to tell you who we think is going to win with the points. And then third, we're going to give you our actual wagers, and that's what we wager on every week. And we're going to tell you what we're looking at for this coming week. Sometimes that'll be a number of wagers if we like the week. Sometimes it might only be one or two of it. And this week's starting to look like one of those weeks because there's a lot of 2-2 teams out there. There's a lot of tough betting. So we're going to look at that as well for you. So you're going to have three opportunities to make money through the show. Fantasy through DraftKings, your team pools, and then finally our wagers for the week. So we're going to give you a lot of value. Shows usually take about an hour, a little bit more. And Joey, let's get right into that. And I will mention the website, ultimatesportschannel.com. There we have a daily sports feed. So in and above what we do as our podcast, we have every sports article, every sports feed that's happening on our website, ultimatesportschannel.com. You can also see where we play. You can also see our sponsors. So anyway, let's get into it, Joe. This is week number 5 already. It's going so fast, the NFL season. But it's really been a weird one. It's like almost everybody's tied.
It's week number 5, and it's getting difficult here. We got a lot of stinkers that have proven themselves right now to be stinkers, and they're actually playing each other this week. And then we got some good teams that are going to go head to head in the middle of the road, and really divisions are all up for grabs, and it's very confusing right now with teams playing absolutely horrible one week and great the next. This is really the period I think that we've talked about extensively as no preseason a lot of times for these teams. So I feel like the
top players.
Well, yeah, so everyone's playing, right? Yeah. Everyone who's playing, mostly your important players on these teams that all aren't playing. Their quarterbacks, their running backs. A lot of the receivers aren't playing. Even some tackles don't play anymore because of injury. So, you just don't get a lot of these top players playing for these teams. So I feel like these 4 weeks have been very confusing based on how ready they feel, how the chemistry gets going maybe a week and then it doesn't the next. So
also let's face facts too. These guys who didn't play there's a lot of injuries. You know what? They should just be playing these guys in the preseason. Let them get ready to go. If they get injured, they get injured. Because look at the amount of injuries in the season here. I don't think a lot of these guys were ready to go because they didn't play enough in the preseason.
Definitely. So anyways, that's our little view on preseason. We've talked about a couple times. So check that out. We feel you should play your players. But anyways, week 5 here going to be very difficult, which also means it's exciting. A lot of great games, no matter what, where you live, what stations you get. You should get some good football games, and it makes it a little tough for us picking and wagering. But again, if you're successful, you should have a big week because the odds are on your side. So tough week here. Let's get into it. It's going to be lots of fun. We start off with Thursday Night Football, and they really haven't been great games, although last week was finally a good Thursday Night Football game with the Green Bay Packers and Philadelphia Eagles, a great rivalry there, and then obviously turned out to be a great game, 34-27.
But another shocker. I mean, I wasn't a believer in Green Bay's defense. They made me a believer after 3 weeks, and then just stunk on Thursday.
Well, these short weeks, they do that,
Hard,
and
yeah.
I don't know. Normally, it's offenses actually struggle to come back, but the defense of Green Bay had been carrying them for 3 weeks, so I guess they were the most tired going into the Thursday night game, and on a short rest, they proved vulnerable, and Jordan Howard had an amazing game for the Philadelphia Eagles. I actually had him in my Draftkings, put up 30 points there, so he had a great game. So going to this Thursday night, it'll be interesting to see who comes out ready, who doesn't. But anyways, it's the Los Angeles Rams at Seattle. Seattle is -1.5. Now, if you know anything about betting, that actually means they'd be the underdogs if they're on the road, because normally it's 3 points is the home spread. So 1.5 point favorites for Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. I am going to roll with the green and the Seattle Seahawks, thinking that they'll get it done at home. Thursday Night Football. What goes into this starts off with the fact that they play Arizona on the weekend. I felt like that wasn't very hard for them. They ran the ball a lot, so the receivers didn't have a lot of work. Neither did Russell Wilson, and then the defense played good, but it wasn't a tough test with Kyler Murray. They handled him fairly easy. They were also very positive after that win, where the Rams are coming off a pretty disappointing loss to Tampa Bay.
Looking pretty ugly.
Looking pretty ugly, and looking pretty bad, actually, through the first 3 weeks. Seattle's looked pretty good, besides the Saints game, where really it was kind of this weird punt return, then a fumble return, and the game got out of hand.
Joey, in reality,
it should be a good game.
This would probably be Seattle by 5, except they lost at home. I mean, they've been invincible at home, and they lost to New Orleans at home, and I think we're getting odds here that we wouldn't normally get, because they're considered a team that just doesn't get beat at home, and actually had never lost a game in September until that game. So I think that's throwing off the odds makers. But I'm with you, Seattle all the way. I think Los Angeles is in disarray. Tough to go to a Thursday night after a brutal game on the weekend. So I think we're getting a break here on the points.
Well, there's a couple reasons obviously for this, starting with the fact that the Rams have been the best team the last couple of years between these matchups, and even beating Seattle in Seattle a couple times now. So.
But they've all been close games.
There's some belief there. All the games are close, and really Seattle, I feel like for me, it came down to some fluky plays on the half of the Saints that got them that win. So I'm going to roll with Seattle at home. I'm going to roll with the fact that they are normally unbeatable there, and the Seattle will show up on a Thursday night primetime game. Russell Wilson has the greatest primetime record in NFL history right now. So his primetime win-loss record is fantastic. He's only lost, I believe, I'm going to go 2 times, and he's won 15. So that's incredible through the start of his career. So he's clutch when he wants to be. He comes up big. I think, throwing the ball becomes more important for some reason in primetime games. It seems that way because they do it a lot, and they do it very well. So Seahawks against the Rams all the way. Now, we talk about DraftKings. DraftKings, I would not take any of these players if it includes the Sunday and Monday games. I do not like this game. For that, I don't like any Thursday night game if you're trying to do a contest that involves all 3 days of football. But there is Thursday night 1-game contest, and I have done a lineup for that. I am going to participate in that. And it's very important, guys, picking what you play. Because last week I did not have a great lineup, but I did win a couple head-to-heads. I won one where I was the best out of 13 guys. Would have done awful probably in the thousands of players, but made money. So we talk about this. Head-to-head, guys, is so important. So here we go. I have done a Thursday lineup, and I'm going to go with Chris Carson as my king. And in 1-gamers, usually Thursday nights, Monday nights, Sunday nights, they do the king system. The king is double. The cost also double the points, and then the rest of the lineup. So Chris
in other
Carson,
words, one position is key to winning on Thursday.
Very, very important. On Thursday night, in the Bears-Packers game, the defense got killed. I should have had Jordan Howard, would have had 60 points. So this crown guy, this king, is very important. He's going to get double the points. So if you're doing a Thursday night lineup, I am rolling with 5 Seahawks players, 1 Rams player, and my king is going to be Chris Carson. Why? They fed him the ball a lot against Arizona, gets confidence back. He had some fumbling issues the first 3 weeks of the season, which actually was 4 lost fumbles. So that was a lot. Last week, they got his confidence back. I know it was against a bad team, but he was talking all hyped about himself. So he got a touchdown, got lots of yards, didn't fumble the ball. Rashard Penny is still hurt, so he's still going to see the ball a lot. And at the end of the day, that's what the Seahawks like to do. And if they get in the red zone, which I think they will, their first option will be to try to run it in. So Chris Carson has to be your king. He's due for a breakout game. The Rams are horrible against the run. They give up so many yards in the run against Tampa Bay, against Carolina. So this is another team that likes to run the ball against the Rams, and they will do that effectively. So Chris Carson is your king. You got to take Russell Wilson in these games, in these one-nighters. You got to take the quarterback for a team you think is going to win. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair for definitely the Seahawks, possibly the Rams too. They have not been low-scoring games last time they've played against each other.
It's all been in the 30s usually.
So in a Thursday night game, I expect that to be the same. They just surrendered 55 points to Tampa Bay, so I assume the Seahawks can put up quite a few. So Carson is your king. Wilson's got to be in your lineup. I'm taking Russell Wilson. Obviously expensive, but important you don't take him as your double up because it saves you a lot of cap room. The one Ram player I'm going to take is Cooper Kupp. If Goff has one player that
loves to go to,
whether he plays good or bad, Cooper Kupp sees the ball a lot.
Yeah.
So you got to take him. Tyler Lockett for the Seahawks. Russell Wilson, anytime he throws the ball, that is his new guy. I love to see it. I think Lockett's the best receiver on the team. I think he's one of the best in the league. He has seen the ball a lot in the last 3 games. So
he needs to. And if they ever watch film, he's open on every play, so It's easy to get to him. And they should be doing it all the time.
Okay, Wilson's new favorite target, Will Dissly. If you don't know the name, number 88. He has seen the ball a ton. More importantly, a red zone guy, and this is important, obviously, in DraftKings because touchdowns mean more than anything else. So Will Dissly is my 5th player there, my 4th player for the Seahawks, and Wilson's favorite tight end.
And interesting as a pick you've got there, but also in the history of the Seahawks, they went out and got Graham and spent a fortune to get him in players and money. And Wilson never threw the ball to him virtually. Now all of a sudden he found out there's tight ends in the game of football, and he's throwing it to this guy all the time.
Well, you know what? I think Wilson is this underdog type of mentality guy, and I just don't think he gels well with big-time players. They brought in Percy Harvin for a couple of years. He was gone fast. I mean, Wilson needs guys that have been through the ringer like he has in order to make the NFL. I think he respects them more, and he kind of favors towards them. And Will Dissly's one of those guys. No one really knows him, but he's playing great. And number 88, you should be aware of him. He's going to have a big game. And then I'm going to go with another tight end, Luke Wilson. And why? Because he cost me $200, and I need to get someone really low there.
Fill out the cap,
and for $200, Luke Wilson's someone that's going to be on the field a lot. He's a run blocker, so whether one of those running plays turns into an audible for a pass, he could easily see that option to him. He could see a touchdown maybe pass to him as well in the red zone. He's a guy that Russell Wilson absolutely adores and loves. He's Canadian. He was on the team, was very successful before he left for obviously a little bit of cash. Of course, when he was available, Seahawks bring him right back. So should help the running game, but I'm more looking for, as far as DraftKings go, is that maybe those running plays turn into a pass play and an audible. Maybe it turns into a short pass in the red zone where they fake a run. So this is a guy that
this guy can get 7 points at $200. He's worth your time.
Right. I mean, that's really all I'm looking for here, guys. I'm looking for something above his average, which is 4 points. I'm looking if he can get me 7 to 10. I mean, that's a dream. So, guys, that's my lineup. Obviously, very pro Seahawks. If you're pro Rams, you're gonna be looking at something else. But I think this is the team and the lineup to go with. I think Seahawks all the way in Thursday night football. All right. Well, that was Thursday night, guys. That was your Thursday night lineup. Again, if you're going to include Sunday games, do not include them in your lineups. I don't think I trust Thursday night.
Yeah, that's really important to say. There's a 1-game lineup we do, but as we get into the weekend, give you more suggestions. This game will not be part of that.
Right. Okay. Let's move on. Let's look towards Sunday. Arizona Cardinals at Cincinnati. -4.5.
Let's skip the game.
Well, you got to pick it. I am going to go with Arizona. I'm kind of surprised that Cincinnati's favorite. At least Arizona's played competitive games, so I'm going to go with Arizona at Cincinnati. But
it's embarrassing.
Yeah, but what's the point? Honestly, if you have to watch this game, I feel sorry for you. But anyways, Arizona +4.5. I'm going with them. No DraftKings. Buffalo at Tennessee. Tennessee -2.5. Now, this all depends on Josh Allen, but from what I understand, he will not play. And if he does, I would not trust him in this game. So I'm going to roll with Tennessee, who have had 2 big wins so far this year, along with 2 stinkers. We'll see which one shows up, but I got to roll with them, assuming Josh Allen is not 100% whether he plays or doesn't play. No DraftKings again.
And actually, you don't really have the backup there that's going to produce for us.
Yeah, he's an old backup. It's not like he's a young guy that could surprise us. DraftKings, the only thing I take here, and I took him last week, and it got me 11 points, which is solid for a defense, is the Tennessee defense. They put up 11 points last week, which is impressive against an Atlanta offense. Against a Buffalo team with a backup, even with Josh Allen, who's not 100%, I'm taking Tennessee all the way. turnovers galore available for them.
Right.
If they have a good game. So Tennessee.
Well, even Josh Allen at his best,
he turns over the ball all the time.
The interceptions have been unbelievable.
Yeah. So exactly. I mean, he's thrown. I think they said 6 so far through 4 games.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Tennessee to win the game -2.5, and Tennessee's defense in your DraftKings. Chicago Bears at Oakland. Oakland is +4.5. Okay, so sorry, that's why I was getting confused. This is the London game, guys. So they're playing at 1 o'clock, although they are in London. So Chicago Bears are technically the road team, but that doesn't really matter here. These games are tough to pick because
this is going to be a night game there.
Well, yes, but more importantly, it's tough because the travel is difficult. I know the Bears are not traveling there early. They are going to practice in Chicago until Friday.
Well, we really need it. You toss this game. There's no way to.
Well, okay, let's just say if you have to pick it,
for a pool.
Yeah, you have to pick it for a pool. I'm going to roll with Chicago -4.5. I'm going to roll with Chicago. If you have to pick it for your pool, Chicago -4.5, but no DraftKings, no betting.
No.
Okay, Tampa Bay +3.5 at New Orleans. Guys, this is
Tampa Bay. I mean, when we were watching the game the other night, I could not believe what they were doing. Good to see it. I love to see teams that have been struggling. But yeah, I mean, they're hard not to pick now.
I know, and I'm actually going to roll with Tampa Bay, guys. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay. Right now, I don't think the Saints can score, and they've won on their defense. Now, if Tampa Bay has one strength, it's their offense. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay +3.5 here in New Orleans to get the upset. I'm going to take them with the spread. Later in my wagering, you'll see I'll take them as well to win the game. Great odds there. As far as DraftKings go, I'm not going to take anything only because they can still get stumped. And I don't want to take an offense
they're not consistent
that's still going up
enough.
against the best defense probably in the league right now. So I'm not going to take a team that could possibly get stumped. So Tampa Bay.
And Kamara could be a real problem. I mean, he could hold the ball, really.
Well,
really,
if I was going to take a DraftKings guy, it would be Kamara.
They just feed him the ball.
But he is expensive. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking of building your lineup. So if I was taking, if you like Kamara, go ahead. I mean, the defense of Tampa Bay is not very good, but I'm just thinking of price, not worth it to me. Okay, Minnesota -4.5 at the New York Giants. I'm going with the New York Football Giants. Again, this is another wager. Later in the show, you'll see. So 2 underdogs so far. I'm hot on the.
I know it's another one of these weird games, though.
First of all, I absolutely hate Minnesota. I despise them. I think they're a horrible football team. More importantly, they're 0-2 on the road. The Giants found something on their defense last week. Whether that will continue, I don't know. But I love the offense. The Giants so far, they put up 32, and then they put up 24 this past week. A lot of hate going on in Minnesota's locker room. The receivers are not happy.
Kirk Cousins is just brutal. He doesn't even get 2 seconds to set up that offensive line. He's on the run all the time.
I agree, but they won with Case Keenum, so
yeah.
I don't know, but I'm gonna go with the Giants. The one thing I know about the Giants is that running back that replaced Straquan Bartlett had a fantastic game. Daniel Jones did not have a great game, but hopefully he'll bounce back. But there's definitely a lot of confidence and positive vibes. If you want to just go on mojo alone, the mojo with the Giants is happy. It's positive. The mojo with the Vikings is we're gonna miss the playoffs. We hate each other. Oh my God. So again, man, another game I don't think I could take DraftKings. I don't know who I'm gonna take, but I've looked at it and this is nothing from this game. I can't really go with the Giants because the Minnesota Vikings have been known to stump some offense.
Good defense, yeah.
I mean, even the games they lost, they gave up 21 to Green Bay, they gave up 16 to Chicago. The fact is they can't score. Now, am I going to roll with the Giants defense? Well, at the end of the day, they've only have one good game. Man, I'm going to leave it alone, but I am going to go with the Giants to cover the spread and win this game. Okay. Philadelphia Eagles -13.5 against the Jets in Philly. The Jets have never beaten Philly in actually league history, by the way. Fun fact. 0-10 against 0-10 against the Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia Eagles are 10-0, 13.5 spreads, respectable.
Where did that team come from last week? They were looking so horrible, and they go into Green Bay, and they're able to take apart that.
And I know what Jet fans think. We're coming off a bye week, but from what I know, and this is a kind of a late decision because it depends on Sam Darnold playing.
Right.
But he's not supposed to play, and even though you got a bye week, the Philadelphia Eagles got 10 days off because they play Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm going to roll with Philadelphia. They look way better than the Jets, and I think they're going to get back on stride here, be 3-2. And make the division a really tight race.
Last week was huge for them.
Yeah, so Philly at home, I'm going to roll with them. I am going to get some DraftKings guys here. Okay, so this is my first one. So Carson Wentz. I am going to go with him. So Carson Wentz is going to be 6,100 salary. He's averaging 22 fan points. The Jets have a decent defense, but obviously have given up a ton of points because their offense cannot hold the ball.
Yeah.
The Philadelphia Eagles defense is good enough to get the ball back enough that Wentz sees it a ton. I'm going to roll with him because I feel like the receivers are getting healthy again. So Alshon Jeffrey was back. He didn't see many targets because he wasn't looking very good. And the running game was so effective against the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to expect him to throw the ball a little bit more here at home. Get Alshon Jeffrey back in the game here. And I think it's going to be a decent game there for them. Now, again, Jordan Howard, I picked him on Thursday night because I said they kind of have been running a couple back system, but I said if one gets hot, they'll roll with him. And he got hot, and man, did they roll with him. Putting up 30 points. Guys, $5,100. I'm going to pick him as well for the Philadelphia Eagles here. Again, another guy I think they're going to want to give him the ball early because of what he did last week. I think he's earned a lot of touches, and I think they're going to go with that again. And so I'm going to go with him at $5,100. It's not a big risk play, and again, if he gets hot early, as you see, they'll stick with him, and they're going to go with him early as well because of what he did last week. So there's that hangover, that carryover that he's earned, and the coach will give to him. So
I think there's no doubt, and I believe that they are just gonna run over the Jets. So
yeah, and as far as receivers, I don't have a receiver I want to pick because I feel he'll spread the ball well. I don't feel like there's a receiver that he's going to target a ton of times. And also, he loves his tight ends as well. So I'm just going to leave that alone.
Well, Jeffrey should be a hot target.
Yeah, man, but I don't know. I'm not going to roll with any receivers. If you want to take Alshon Jeffrey, you are getting him cheap this week because, again, he has not been great because he's only in his first week back.
Exactly.
Was against Green Bay. He wasn't great. So this is his second week. 10 days off. I'll go with him. You know what? He's at 5,900 against a bad defense.
You get good value against a bad defense.
There's some value there. So, guys, you get 3 Philadelphia Eagles players here. Pretty reasonable prices. I'd roll with them for sure. It looks good for your line, but allows you to do a lot more in other positions.
In the cap space,
so that's good there. And by the way, if you want to know the price on Tennessee defense, who was the one defense I said to pick so far, they are at Titans, 3,000. So you'd still have a remaining 30,000 left in your cap, which is an average of 6,000 per player. If you take these 3 Philly guys and the Tennessee defense, I'm on board with that. With those.
One of the things we do as well, just so you know, if you're new to the show, new to Draftkings, we do recommend having a couple different lineups. So what Joey's putting in here, some value players that you can put in there, but you should have a couple different lineups. You never know which game's going to hit in any particular week. So we actually give you more players than one lineup. We're not giving you a lineup here. We're giving you players that fit into a lineup. You can choose how you want to go, but you should always have a couple lineups going just in case one of the ones you have is not performing in a particular week. So that's why we always give you extra players that you can choose from when we go through this process here. So this is not a definitive lineup for the weekend. This is giving you a lot of options of guys we think are going to score well. Right,
and I must say, though, those 4, line up together cost-wise and value-wise. So that might be something to consider, though, with that defense as well. That's obviously a bonus. I feel like I'm missing a game because where's the New England? Here we go. Okay, New England minus 15.5 at Washington. Okay, so this is where I was going to really get in here as far as players for DraftKings. First of all, I'm going to roll with New England minus 15.5. It's in Washington, but Washington did just get blown up by the Jets, and now they're going to start the rookie QB. So you have to take the Patriots defense right now, guys. This is incredible value here. They have been better than most receivers, most running backs. They have averaged 20 points per game. They have had an interception every game. In fact, one player has had an interception in every single game. And now, this great defense of New England, who's only given up 1 touchdown all season long, they're going to get a rookie quarterback in his second game. So this is just, they're sitting back in film room going, this is like their favorite game of the year. This is going to be so much fun for them. Now, because they average as many points per receiver, they are the most expensive defense by far at $4,300. But I'm telling you, it's worth it. Against Dwayne Haskins in his second game, I just can't believe that he has to face New England. I feel bad for him. He will throw easily a couple interceptions, maybe a fumble. This is going to be
sacks.
The sacks will be incredible too. This is going to be points galore for this defense on sacks, interceptions. They're going to tear this team up. They're going to win by 15.5 easily. This defense is going to get the ball a lot. Maybe even a pick 6. You got to take this defense. And I truly feel bad for Dwayne Haskins. You're in for not a fun day
Yeah.
at home because
Well,
they have picked off every QB, and now they get a rookie with Bill Belichick going to be scouting this rookie.
The team that he plays for is already not a good day any day either.
Man, you got to take Patriots defense. Actually, more than the Tennessee defense. I'm thinking you'll lose if you don't take this Patriots defense. I think they're going to easily put up the 20 points they've been averaging. They might put up 30. Like I said, I just think that this rookie quarterback has no chance against a team that's given up one touchdown all year and has feasted on interceptions. So good luck there. I'm going to roll with the Patriots defense. I'm going to roll with Tom Brady. He's at 65, a little bit expensive here. So you're going to get a little bit expensive, which means you'll have to find some nuggets that are a lot cheaper. That's why it still might be better to go with.
And this is why I meant. This is what I meant about value and sometimes racking up the points and finding some nuggets. So the reason Joey's saying that is Brady's expensive, defense expensive. You're going to have to find some players in other positions that are not going to cost you so much money. But you have to assume the Patriots are putting up big numbers this week. So it's in my opinion, it's worth getting guaranteed points and then trying to find some nuggets and some lower price guys to fill that in. But this is guaranteed. The Patriots are putting up a lot this week. They're going to be upset that they looked horrible last week against Buffalo.
I agree.
I think this offense is going to come out wanting to prove that was just a one-off game, and you're going to see the Patriots light this game up.
Now, more importantly is Sony Michel. Okay, so I'd take him because if Brady gets a lead, they will run the ball. I know they want to get Sony Michel going. He has not been very good as of late. He hasn't really done much, honestly, for the New England Patriots right now. So I think this is a game where they're going to go, we got to get him ready, because when the games come against good teams and they want to ice the ball, they want to waste some time, he needs to start getting some yards. So he's only averaging 7 points, guys. He's at 5,500, which is still more than Jordan Howard on Philly, but I think he's going to see the ball a lot, especially in the second half here, as I assume the Patriots will get an early lead in this game.
I would say from my perspective, though, this is where you throw Howard in as a value here, because I don't disagree with you on Sony Michel, except for the fact that I think Brady wants to make up for last week. I think he's going to just absolutely annihilate this team. So I would think Howard, you get better value. That would be the way I'm going to look at it in my Draftkings. Better value with a Howard, because
you do need two running backs.
You are spending a lot of money on the other New England players. So
right, you do need two running backs. So combined it'd be 51 and 5,500. You could take both. There might be someone else I'd like. Maybe James White. He's actually 5,000. So then that's a combined total of 10,000 on your running backs. That's not bad.
See, I like James White because he'll catch a lot of passes.
Right.
Too.
So that might be a better way to go, guys. They total $10,000 in your salary.
Yeah.
That's good for two running backs of value, and should get lots of points here. Now, obviously, receivers. You got Julian Edelman. I expect him to see the ball quite a bit, although I'd rather go with Josh Gordon here, who's at 6,100, because I think we'll see it more than Edelman, because Edelman's a little hurt.
Yeah.
So I don't think they'll force Edelman to catch 11 balls on Sunday. I don't think they want him to.
No.
Truthfully, I think they'd consider sitting him through a couple quarters here. But Josh Gordon is particularly a long ball. He doesn't take much of a beating because he doesn't catch a lot of short ones. So I'm looking for him to maybe get a 100-yard receiving game, maybe a long touchdown, like about 30-yard touchdown that Brady's going to try to feed it to him. He needs to get going a little bit. I mean, for Josh Gordon to be averaging 10 points and he's supposed to be your deep ball target, they need to get that rhythm going with him.
And I think this is, again, Brady wanting to show that last week was just an anomaly. I think he'll be going to Josh Gordon throughout this whole game.
Okay, so
he's going to want some spectacular touchdowns this week to get over the fact he was so pedestrian last week. So I think they're going to run all over them. I like the picks. I like Josh Gordon myself.
Okay, and no tight end for me. No tight end has done enough for me on New England. So I'm going to go with, if you're going to go with New England players, first of all, I'd rather go with their defense. I think that's a must. But if you want, I like Tom Brady. I like Josh Gordon. I think that combo wants to get going this week. I think they will. And I think they'll put up a lot of points. So, guys, New England game here. Defense, Gordon, Brady. Okay. Let's move on here. Baltimore Ravens minus 3.5 at Pittsburgh Steelers plus 3.5. I'm going to go with Baltimore in Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh this week was more of Cincinnati being so bad. I'm looking for Baltimore to bounce back, actually.
They better.
They've been
We
horrible.
picked them to win the division. I can't believe what you've been playing.
We normally trash teams that only beat bad teams. They've only beat bad teams. They beat Arizona, they beat Miami.
But the good thing is they're playing another bad team, so that's going to help.
But they've lost to Kansas City and they've lost to Cleveland. So it's a big bounce back game. I'm expecting some good things for them. Now, I don't know who to go with though. I don't really like anybody. I don't think.
I think it's a win. I think in our pool, It's a win for ball. I mean, I think that they are going to put on a big week this week.
But Lamar
Pittsburgh,
Jackson
like
is
you
the
said,
most
is just-
expensive quarterback in DraftKings,
like, I
so
wouldn't touch
I don't
him.
like him.
No.
As far as running backs, Mark Ingram is 63. He's not bad, but I prefer the value on the other two. There's no receivers I really love. And the defense of Baltimore, I don't really want to go with them because Mason Rudolph has put up some points.
Yeah.
But this is going to be a good game for them. It's a bounce-back game. I think they got to win this by 3.5. They got to be motivated.
I think it's a good call to win the game, but I agree with you on the DraftKings. I don't think there's anything there.
Okay, guys, so another interesting game here. Jacksonville Jaguars plus 3.5 at Carolina. Carolina favored in this game because guess what? They've won 2 in a row. But Jacksonville's won 2 in a row. 2-2-2 teams.
Yeah.
Shockingly have turned their seasons around with their backup
quarterbacks. The
quarterbacks.
start of the season, would you come up with these guys?
Their backup quarterbacks coming in. I'm going to roll with Gardner Minshew in the Jacksonville Jaguars at plus 3.5. Say they go get this one. Now, I don't really like the wager here because obviously Carolina's won back-to-back. They just beat Houston in Houston. I don't like any DraftKings because I think this game will be both teams under 20 points. Now, does that mean I like defense? Not compared to Tennessee or New England's defense.
Yeah.
So I'm going to leave this one alone, but I'm going to go with Gardner Minshew, who's taking over the NFL and the Jacksonville
nothing else
Jaguars.
for the personality alone.
Oh, God, it's great. I love it. Okay, Atlanta Falcons plus 4.5 at Houston. I'm going to go with Houston to bounce back here, guys. They got to beat Atlanta. Excuse you. Minus 4.5 at home. Atlanta 1-3. Didn't beat Tennessee. Didn't beat... who cares? The other teams they played, Indianapolis. They shouldn't have beat Philly, the game they did win. So I'm going with Houston all the way, and this will actually be a wager later on the show too. Houston minus 4, 100%. And now, okay, I do have some stuff here as far as players I want to take. First of all, the Houston Texans defense. I wouldn't mind that at 3,300. That is more than Tennessee though, so I'd go with Tennessee over Houston. Preferably. So I'm not thrilled there, but I'm going to go with Deshaun Watson. Now, he's really expensive. But Atlanta's defense has surrendered quite a few points here. They surrendered a big game to Marcus Mariota last week, who threw 3 touchdowns. So I see Deshaun Watson wanting to bounce back and do that as well. He's had 2 big games and then 2 stinkers. Yeah. So I think this is a big game in the waiting for him. 6,700, quite expensive. I'll roll with Deshaun Watson here. If you're a Houston fan, I think there's some play there. As far as running backs, no. As far as receivers, yes. Deshaun, not Deshaun...
This is actually why Joey's picking up the name here. One of the key things when you're playing DraftKings, you can't pick a quarterback if you're not picking his receiver because the only way a quarterback is going to get points is if the receiver gets touchdowns. So that's why you're always looking, and this is called our combo when you're picking in DraftKings. If you're picking the quarterback, you combine him with some receivers. You have to do that, or why is the quarterback going to be any good if his receiver's not catching any balls in the end zone? So that's why you've got to get receivers. You got to believe in both. Well, what I'm trying to say, you just can't isolate and say, oh, I think the quarterback's going to do great. If he's going to do great, that means some of his receivers have got to do great. And so we always pick receivers with quarterbacks. Okay, so DeAndre Hopkins is his name, by the way. And I'd take him if you like to bounce back and have a big game here. That means you would take Deshaun Watson and you'd have to take DeAndre Hopkins to go with him. Those are the 2 players I take from Houston. No defense there. I'd rather have Tennessee or New England. And I think they'll win the game as well. So that's the Houston game for you. Okay, Denver Broncos at Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers minus 6.5 here. Chargers, man. Come on. 2-2. I expect them to get the win here and cover the spread of 6.5. Denver has been interesting. They've played some tough games and really could easily be 2-2. If they didn't trip over their own feet half the time, they would have been not bad so far this year. They should have beat the Bears. They should have beat the Jaguars. Really could have beat the Green Bay. I'm almost talking myself into picking them to cover the 6.5 point spread, but I'm not going to. But I will leave this game alone in DraftKings and say Chargers 6.5. I'll take that. Well, okay. Chargers have got to get into gear here. They're just even last week against Miami, like they won the game, but still they should have destroyed. So I'd like to see them really get going. They were a pick of mine last year. I thought they're going to be good again this year, but they've struggled out of the gate. They did that last year, then started to really play, and I think we're going to see that this week. They haven't been good, truthfully. They just have not been good start the season. Yeah. It's been known. The last couple of years, they've not had a winning record through 3 weeks, and they've still had great seasons. So, not shocking there. I guess Phil Rivers just needs to get his head clear from his 9 children. Okay, the next game here is Green Bay at Dallas. So, a great game here, minus 3.5 points. You can tell it's a great game because there's only 2 games at 4 o'clock. One of them is Chargers and Broncos. The other one is Green Bay and Dallas. So they want everyone to tune into this one. I'm going to roll with Green Bay Packers plus 3.5 on the road in Dallas.
Dallas showed again that they cannot be good teams, and they cannot be a team with a backup quarterback here. They could not be a team that didn't score a touchdown. So I'm going to go with Green Bay, who has beaten good teams, who is playing good, and is way more confident than Dallas right now. It doesn't have to deal with the media that the Dallas Cowboys
And we're going to throw it last week. I mean, the defense had a stinker. That happens. But I agree with you.
Well, 10 days off for that defense. They should be well rested, and so should the Green Bay Packers, and they've had time to prep for this game a lot more than Dallas has, who's dealing with the loss to the Saints, who had the backup quarterback in Sunday Night Football. And arguably, we're all over the newspaper about how they've only beaten bad teams so far. So really, Green Bay, again, has everything going for them. They should win this game, plus 3.5, which is a natural spread that they give just to the home team.
Well, Green Bay should have won last week. They had 2 red zones right at the end, down in the 1-yard line, and 5, I think, with 5-yard line. Just didn't punch it in, but they played a pretty good game on the offense. So I think Dallas is in trouble.
I agree. Okay. No DraftKings there, though, by the way. Okay. Indianapolis Colts at Kansas City, minus 10.5 for Kansas City. I'm going to go with Kansas City here. I think Kansas City at home is much tougher than on the road. I think they've played really well at home. They've destroyed Baltimore, besides letting Baltimore get back in at the end. They really put up 34 against Detroit. They had other good games, obviously. I'm blanking on the other 2 teams they've played so far. But anyways, we know they're going to put up points. We know they're at home. They're great at home. It's one of the loudest stadiums in the NFL. And they need a statement game, believe it or not, which sounds weird because they're 4-0. But I think they need a statement game where Mahomes puts up 35-40 and there's no even let up.
Well, hey, last week they struggled and they still scored 30. It looked like they're struggling and really battling with it, and they still put up that many points.
I think Mahomes wants a game where it's so big.
Yeah, he's just gonna let
on
loose.
Sunday Night Football. Yeah. I think he's gonna want to tear him up, but we'll see.
Well, we gotta get their receivers in DraftKings, so I think he's going crazy with
right. So I still think they'll win by 10.5.
Yeah,
I think it's Sunday night. Would have been more of an interesting game with Andrew Luck, although I must say I am impressed so far with Indianapolis. But here we go, guys. Quarterback. Oh, this DraftKings actually doesn't have, this doesn't include the night games. I told you the night games are individual games. I did not do a lineup for that, but I would take, obviously, Kansas City. If you're going to do a Sunday night DraftKings, I think you got to go with Mahomes. You got to go with Watkins, Kelsey, and Robinson. You got to take, excuse me, he's bad a bit.
I've been sick for a week, guys.
You got to take all 3 of those guys if you're going to do a Sunday night game. So Mahomes, Kelsey, Robinson, and Watkins. All 4 of those guys, Kansas City, going to go put up a ton of points, I think, here. And if Indianapolis wants to contend, they're going to have to put up a lot of points themselves. But I'll take Kansas City to cover the spread here. Sunday Night Football, that's a different kind of one. Again, it's where you have to pick a king. And everyone's going to pick Mahomes as a king. So I might go off the board here, try to get Kelsey as a king. Hopefully he scores the touchdowns that Mahomes throws to him. And you might get a bit of an advantage there because I bet 95%, and 99% of the people are going to pick Mahomes as their king. So here's your Sunday night game. Monday night, another great game here, guys. Cleveland Browns 2-2 plus 3.5 at San Francisco, who is 3-0. Now we have been on this show, and if you followed us from Vimeo to Patreon, you've noticed we always say San Francisco's a flake at 3-0. Fake news. We do not believe they're a true 3-0 team. We believe they've only played bad teams. We do not like Jimmy Garoppolo. We hate how much money he's getting. So we're going to go with the Cleveland Browns here to win this game and cover the spread of 3.5 points. Monday Night Football going to be very interesting. A great way to cap off the week. I think it's going to be a stellar game. I will not take any players. I suggest not doing a DraftKings. If you are going to do DraftKings, I would roll with Nick Chubb, the running back for Cleveland. Make him your king. Other than that, you're on your own. Baker Mayfield, sure. Odell Beckham, sure. But the only person I know that has been really good for the Browns as of late is the defense and Nick Chubb. And the defense, I'd roll with them too if you're going to do your Monday Nighter. I think you got to take the defense. 49ers have given up a lot of turnovers. Even though they put up points, they've had a lot of turnovers, which is what the defense gets points on.
Right.
So if you're going to do a Monday night, 2 things you have to take: defense of Cleveland and Nick Chubb. There you go, guys. That's your Monday night. I have nothing else on that game and nothing else on DraftKings, guys. So there you go. Let's do wagering real quick.
Let's take a look at our own wagering here. Now, we've mentioned before, but if you're new to the show, we do Bet365 is the system that we use. I'm not sure in the U.S. which states you can get in. I think New Jersey for sure. But there are others that you can get on. We just happen to use this particular one because we do like the odds they give. It is one of the things to check on when you're wagering is that different sites will have different spreads. So be very careful with that. You can pick up a half a point In some cases, I think last week we picked up a point for a win on one of the games. So check out different systems that you're allowed to use in Canada. You can use Bet365. You can use a number of them, Bodog and things along those lines. But in the U.S., it's much more specific by state. But look around wherever you can to see who's giving off the best points value for the team that you're looking to wager on. So that is something to keep in mind when you're looking at wagering sites that you want to be part of. Certainly in New Jersey, which is the most wide open, and hopefully the rest of the states will follow through. You guys also have Betfair, which is a personal favorite of mine, which we can no longer get in Canada, even though we can get all these other ones. Anyway, take a look for that. Look for the best odds you can get. That half point, as we have seen this year, and we know it, but it drives you insane, that half point. Vegas is so good at setting points. It's insane. And you can really lose a game on the half point. So really look for the best odds that you can find. Joey, tough betting week. What are we going with here?
Yeah, guys, I only have 3 bets. It is a tough week, and this isn't even one I'd go crazy on, but I think there's some value here. There's a lot of potential. For starters, the one bet I do love a lot, and I'd hammer if you're going to do individually, would be under 48.5 in the Houston-Atlanta game. They would have hit this under in almost every game, the Atlanta Falcons. And the Texans at home seem to play better defense. In fact, they give up way less points. They give up 12 and 13 points when at home. Yet on the road, they give a lot more. They are home, so I don't see them giving up a lot to Atlanta, who only scored 14 against Tennessee. And the Houston offense, while I expect them to win this game, does not average 30 by any means. So I'm going to go with the under 48.5 Atlanta in Houston game. I'd bet that individually because it's the one I'm most confident on. But here I am going to add it to 2 long shots that I'd also take a little individual, and I'd take them together as a twosome, and then I'd take all 3 together. And you could have a big weekend. But New York Giants over Minnesota, I just got to go with them. I believe in these Giants. I think they've turned it around. I think they have positive attitude. Minnesota has negative attitude. I'd say, the Giants have won 2 in a row. The Minnesota Vikings have lost 2 divisional games against better teams, and they have receivers complaining to the coach and to the quarterback. And
it's a mess.
Everyone hates Kirk Cousins, and, they can't score. So I'm going to roll with the Giants, who are 2-0 under Daniel Jones. Giants, go get the win, man. They're 3-1 here. I'm sorry. They're 2-2, but they're 3-2-1. Their odds to win this game. So 3-1 odds. New York Giants win this game at home, by the way, against Minnesota. So I like that one all the way. And Minnesota 0-2 in the road.
Yeah, and they've proven that the motivation is going in their direction. And that's half the battle a lot of times. I mean, under Eli, this team was just dejected all the time. This kid's put some new life into the team. I think they're just going to keep getting better and better, and I think that this week is going to show that.
I agree. Okay, so 3-1 there. Tampa Bay, guys, against New Orleans. This is an interesting one. I'm going to go with it. I like Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is 2.55 to 1, so 2.5 to 1 against the Saints. Now, I know what you're thinking. The Saints have pulled out 2 fantastic wins, but how long can this last? How long can Teddy Bridgewater not get a touchdown and they still win games? I think it ends this weekend. I like what Bruce Arians has done with the offense Tampa Bay. By the way, guys, before he went there, he was known as a quarterback whisperer, and I thought, what the hell are you talking about? And it's proven, though. Jameis Winston looks fantastic, and he's getting his number 1 receiver the ball. They should be 3-1 if their kicker could make a 32-yard field goal against the Giants.
That's right.
So remember that. So this is a 3-1 team. Should be equal with the Saints. I think they go in New Orleans and get an improbable upset because I don't think, even with how bad the Buccaneers defense is, Todd Bowles has done enough to keep these guys in games and winning games that they're going to hold the Saints to I'm going to go with under 17 points. They're going to hold the Saints offense under 17 points. I think Tampa Bay can score more than that. So I'm going to go with Tampa Bay to win this game in New Orleans. I think it's going to be quite the upset. I think it's going to be something else.
Well, I smile at you, but I do agree that, again, I'm very much a momentum player, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And when you get to New Orleans side, it's been predicated, obviously, on one player. I mean, if Kamara can play and run the ball, they're difficult to beat. But if Tampa Bay can stop his running, or he can't stop the guy, but keep him within reason, they can score enough points to win this game. I agree with you 100%. Teddy Bridgewater's been horrible. My only other worry in this game is that they bring in number 7. I'm missing his name now. And bring him into the game. That would be my only worry. I really like this guy. I don't know what they're waiting for. He brings so many more options to the table. I would watch on this bet. This is just my caution. If they announce that he's going to start, I don't like this bet. So I'm going to leave that with our fans here. Joey likes the Tampa Bay. I'm not disagreeing under Teddy Bridgewater being the quarterback, but I am worried if they make a quarterback change, that could change the dynamics. And I would lay off this game and make sure who's starting. You don't have to bet it till Sunday, so I would take your time and make sure who's going to start this game. Watch the news around New Orleans. I'm sure we'll get some kind of indication. If they don't indicate, then Bridgewater will start. And I don't think they're good enough with.
Well, it is Wednesday, so yeah, stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
But let's say Bridgewater plays. I like Tampa Bay. I mean, this offense has been good enough. The running's been good. He's finding Mike Evans, who's his number one receiver. So great stuff from Bruce Arians. Again, should be 3-1. Okay. Tampa Bay to beat the Saints, 2.5-1. Giants to beat the Vikings, 3-1. And the under 48.5. Atlanta, Houston. That's just even money. Together, all three, 14-1. The two long shots together is 7-1. If you take the under with one of the long shots, it's about 5-1. Okay, so
some great odds there.
Some great odds, some great potential here. I wouldn't wager your child's tuition on it, but lots of fun here, lots of interesting plays. Some good football, guys. It's gonna be a fun week. It's a good football. Potential for an awesome record. Potential for a bad record. But these three things I think will happen on Sunday. So look for those. And I do agree with his Saints prediction. If Taysom plays, it's just gonna be a different vibe. So that's an interesting thought there. But guys, I love these plays. I'm all over the Giants, though. Man, I'm stoked. I'm happy. I think they deserve a winning team after all these years with Eli.
Well, you have to give Eli his due with the Super Bowls, but other than that, it's been pretty crappy. So I agree with you. I like to see New York teams do well. I think they're fantastic sports fan. They spend more money than anybody else in all their sports to try and get great teams. And so we'll see what happens there. I agree with you though. I think they're on the right side of it. The momentum's starting to go in their favor. So we'll see what happens. Again, a very tough week. That's why we're not taking too many games on personal wagering. A good fantasy week maybe to take your time on that. But we'll be back. We'll be back next Wednesday to give you more information. If there's any outstanding changes that are made, it always impacts what we're talking about. So always look at any changes, particularly around the quarterback position or the running back position. You have to make some adjustments on your own. But there you are. That's another week, and we're looking forward to a really exciting fantasy week. I think the betting's really tough this week, but I think there's some great opportunity on the fantasy side. So enjoy. We'll be back next Wednesday with our weekend update. All right. So I'm